I always like to use my time in a manner to serve our community, and I'm so grateful to our team who sends me these questions that members of our community want me to respond to. And today I'm going to respond to this one about a letter to the family. It says, a large share of comments come from spouses, parents, and siblings. Those people that care about somebody in prison, they're effectively serving time too. And they want to know in what ways can they most effectively help their loved ones while they're inside. That is so crucial to give credit to those people because they didn't break the law. Okay, they're collateral consequences of the decisions that somebody who is convicted of breaking the law, they have to go through them as well. I am somebody who really benefited from having family support. I was arrested when I was 23 years old and facing a sentence of life in prison for my decision to traffic in cocaine. And I made a lot of really bad decisions while I was going through the criminal justice system. I knew that I was guilty, but I still pushed the government to take me through trial, and it resulted in a very bad outcome where I got a 45-year sentence. But throughout that process, I had both of my parents that were supportive of me, and they certainly didn't condone what I had done, but they just expressed their love and their support for me. I had two sisters, Julie and Christina, both of whom were there for me and very supportive and really pledged to help me through the entire journey. I had two grandparents that I was close to when I was very young, and they took it very hard and were so humiliated by the reality of my criminal conviction that they stopped speaking with me. And so I had to be thinking about what can I do, what steps can I take while I'm in prison to prove worthy of the trust that my sisters and my parents had in me, and to earn back the trust from my grandparents. And I'm not going to tell anybody else what they should be doing, but for me, it became very important to have a plan that I could articulate to my family. And I told them, that I had learned from reading books and from listening to people that I consider to be far wiser than I was at 23 years old, and they helped me come up with a plan. My plan was pretty simple. I'm not going to say should be the same plan for everybody, but it was, I'm going to spend my time in prison thinking about the stakeholders that I'm going to meet in the future, people who will have influence over my life, and think about what could I do to change their view of me so that they're not only looking at me for the worst decisions that I made in my life. And my plan was simple. It had 3 prongs. One of them, I was going to focus on getting an education. The second prong was I was going to focus on contributing to society in meaningful, measurable ways. And the third, I was going to focus on building a strong support network. And I believed that if I used my time in prison to use that as a compass to guide my time in prison, I hoped that I could prove worthy of the love and support I'd received from my family, and that I could earn myself a pathway back into the good graces of my grandparents. And it really helped me through the journey. And it helped them because they could see how hard I was working. And so there was this collaborative relationship and benefit. If you've got a loved one who's going through the system, I would encourage you to do the same thing. Encourage your loved one to come up with a plan that really helps them define success. They cannot change the past, but anybody can start sowing seeds for a better future. And to the extent that they write their plan out, they can then involve loved ones. They can involve you. They can involve other people in the family or other people in the supportive community. And maybe they could work to broaden their support and build a whole coalition of people who are advocating for them. That is incredibly helpful. And it's also very powerful for the family to know that your loved one is not just wasting time. Instead, he is being very deliberate and intentional about what he should be doing. And he's thinking about it as the days turn into weeks, and the weeks turn into months, and the months turn into years. All of that it requires a person to lay things out. I mean, think of building a house, okay? You don't want to hire a contractor and just tell him, hey, do this and do that and put the kitchen over here and make it 2 bedrooms, maybe 3 bedrooms, maybe I want to have a den, right? That's not the way a house gets built. A house gets built because somebody builds a plan. And they put those blueprints out, and then a builder and a designer and a banker and everybody can see, hey, what's the plan? And then they can measure progress as well. On Prison Professors, we've built an entire system. Everything on Prison Professors is free to help you and your loved ones execute the plan. And that's our profile system. So if you go to Prison Professors, you'll see right on the top menu bar, profiles. And you can build a profile that will help people see that your loved one is more than the criminal decision that resulted in a conviction. Even if he's not guilty, there was a conviction. How did he respond to it? Well, we prompt the individual with our free workbooks that we send, Playbook, Become the CEO of Your Life, to write a biography. We kind of teach them how to do that and why it's so important. We encourage them to write daily journals. Don't complain about what the system's not doing. Show what you are doing to prepare for success in the future. 3, every time you read a book, we encourage you to write a book report. Tell us why you read the book. What did you learn from reading the book? In what ways will the book contribute to your success in the future? And 4, we really encourage you to develop your own release plan. That means go through a real SWOT analysis. Consider your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and then show how you've built a plan to respond to all of the weaknesses and empower you so that you're ready to move on and write the next chapter of your life. There is a parade of horribles that follows for people who don't have a plan if they've gone to prison. You don't want that for your loved one. I always say there's 5 outcomes for people who don't have a plan. One of them is unemployment. You know, if they come out, it's tough to get a job. 2 is underemployment. They may get a job, but it's like being in another prison. They can't get out of it because they need the weekly income, and it limits their ability for true liberty. 3, they might be homeless. 4, they might have more problems with the law. Or 5, they might be successful. To be successful requires you to make intentional decisions. That's what all of our courses try to encourage people to do. Everything at Prison Professors is free. I hope that you will use our resources to help your loved one get the best possible outcome. I would never ask anybody to do anything I didn't do. This strategy gave me true liberty. Even though I served 26 years in prison, I now have the freedom to do what I want to do. And that's what I try and encourage other people to build, is that type of a strategy. My name is Michael Santos. I am the founder of Prison Professors. I believe in you, and I hope that you find this video responsive to your questions about how to help a family member or a loved one in prison. Be cool.